Welcome back to A Windy City Vatan Watch, the channel where truth meets freedom, right here in the heart of Chicago. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with our latest investigations, interviews, and insights. Your support fuels our fight for freedom and truth. So, let's dive into today's journey, armed with knowledge and the relentless spirit of the Windy City.
Howdy folks, Windy City Vatan Watch. This is Paul. We're one stop away from the exit. Should be getting off the train in just a moment. It's probably a little loud coming in here, but we're at the LaSalle Street Station. It is Friday night, graduation night. There might be an event here tonight too. So we're heading up the stairs at the LaSalle Street Station. Boy, is it loud in here. Hopefully you're not hearing that. Howdy, girl. Very good to see you. Howdy, Marina. I want to kind of show you a little surprise. So, Declared Dave loves suppressive Sherry. Got me an awesome shirt. And I'm going to head over and we'll see if we can get those blinds down quickly. I will say that I've also got a body cam. So it was an expensive week for me. Went out and got a new phone. Hey, Kat. Just to show again, Declared Dave loves suppressive Sherry. Got me a gift. Howdy, Ellie. Hi, Marina. And I heard you're doing chores tonight. All right, as we come up the stairs, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around. Oh. All right, we are at the courthouse. It's a beautiful sunny day. It's high 60s, no real wind to speak of. So today I come equipped with, I've got a second and third phone now, as well as a body camera, so that I can make sure I have angles. Now I will tell you that we had an incident last Sunday, and I know I haven't been out. None of it was related to what happened last Sunday. I just had a busy work week, and my father-in-law was still in town, so I wanted to spend some time with him before he headed home. And tonight is our first opportunity really to be, well, my first opportunity to really be back here. We're going to head over to the org. It's graduation night. There might be an event going on tonight as well. I'll tell you, I'm a little bit tired. Not sure why I'm not getting sleep the way I need to. Off in the distance, we see the dreadful billboard that Scientology has gotten. Howdy, Miss Bramlett. Some of you might not know, but on Sunday, the auditors went over to get food at the restaurant a block over on Dearborn Street. And while we were in there eating, Chad Olson, not Chadwick Burke, but there's another Chad here. By the way, I think Chad might be the given name of everybody in the cult. It's a very common name. But Chadwick came in, and we asked him if he wanted the SPTV Foundation business card. He declined. Nothing going on in the alley. We'll head back out to the front.
It's like all
It's a great day to be out here today. Quite a bit of traffic down there. It looks more like it's in front of the college. I've been cutting, so I've got great angles of the Scientologist who assaulted me on Sunday. I'm getting that ready to bring back to the police so that we can upgrade that from a non-criminal to a criminal charge. It also is just another one of those videos that helps us understand how much in the pocket the police are with Scientology. That's something. That they were out here 3 different times in less than 15 minutes. The fastest time they were here in 5 minutes once. To help talk to us about chalk on the sidewalk and taping signs to the sidewalk. So they came out twice for chalk and once for signs. Again, less than 30 minutes, sometimes as fast as 5. We're at the cult. Not much going on here at the cult today, but let's get those windows down. There's some pennants in here which are new. Those might just be Dianetics pennants. Howdy, MD Media. They're playing a little bit more with the design and presentation. Let's show everybody the back side of the book for Dianetics. We've got one person up at the administrative counter. Can't see anybody in the cafeteria right now. You know, I'm going to be here tomorrow still, but they claim that it's the 25th now. So I think that they moved it to the 25th to see if they could kind of get everybody to come down on the 25th instead of the 18th and miss the wedding event. So we've got the shades coming. We'll see if she reads my shirt. As soon, maybe you can see it in the window, but right, yawn if you're in a cult. And it's not really a wedding. It's a renewal of vows. Excuse me. Anastasia's in back, so I saw Anastasia back there. Here comes Anastasia. She's going to bring the speaker out. I'll talk to you in just a second. I want to see what she's got to get her Bluetooth ready, syncing up her Bluetooth to this. It's Joe Cicala the third. He is the executive director, and his wife, Crystal Ehrlich, are renewing their vows here. And if you look at their pages, hi Anastasia, how you doing today? Oh, look, you yawned. She yawned. She is in a cult. I'm going to see if I... Yeah, my understanding is they are already married. Now, how you doing? That it's kind of been nebulous as to whether or not this is a renewal of vows or if it's an actual wedding. Regardless, it's a big event, right, for the executive director and his wife, both of whom work at Dream Exchange, right, the largest minority exchange in, I don't know if it's in the US or in the world. People who don't have money, I'm guessing. Hey, Nance, how are you? Just to, so hopefully you saw Anastasia did yawn when you turned around to open the door and go back in. I'm going to see if I can get this on there, but I don't know if you could see the shirt or not, but it says, yawn if you're in a cult. Might show up on the window here. Ooh. Well, I definitely hope you heal quickly. Yeah, I'll say that I don't like that somebody tried to steal it, but hey, it's you're putting a dangerous element out there. You're putting yourself at risk. I'm going to say that I think the shirt actually worked. We saw Anastasia yawn when she came out to put the boombox down. Okay, it's 5:15 right now. I'm going to quickly take a run down Dearborn Street just to see if there's any activity over there. I have no idea why my voice is acting hoarse today. I checked in on you a couple of times, MD Media, over last week. Love the sptv.space site so that we can just kind of jump around, see how the auditors and protesters are doing around the country. Absolutely beautiful day here in Chicago today. If you're joining me on the live, please go ahead and hit that like button. Let's see if we can spread the word. And if you're in the replay crew, add some comments. Let YouTube know there might be some value here. I was finishing up editing the incident that occurred on Sunday. So the day Sunday started off with the police coming because of chalk, and for some reason, in their encounter with the chalk, it was very important that they tell me that I'm not allowed to put my phone in anybody's face because they could defend themselves, and that is an illegal action. Now, I have never done that, so I put together a clip of probably 15 or 20 times where I've been following body routers, and not once have I gotten within 20 feet of them unless they would double back on me. So there have been times where they'll turn around and I will walk off the sidewalk to give them space in those situations. Oh wait, what's going on here? The later in the day, one of the Scientologists who was doing body routing that day came out and approached me. She walked directly up the street and directly to me. And on my camera, it's not as noticeable, but on Corn Freak had a great view of it, as well as other people had a view of it in their in the window. So I was able to splice them all together, and you can see that she takes 3 steps to me as I take 3 steps backwards. Every single time I was in fear for my life because somebody had raised their arm and put a phone in my face. When the police came, they said, "What assault? We don't see anything here." And again, it's the police in the pocket of the people who pay the most, right? You see what's going on here? Yeah, that Wendell stuff is ridiculous. And the idea that he was in cuffs and then some sergeant come to save the day comes and says, "Oh no, he's all right, that's fine, let him go." And I really hope that hits the media soon enough. Somebody is going to get hurt, right? Somebody has already been hurt. Chris has had an expensive surgery, tooth surgery that had to take place. Lost a phone in the incident. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And we understand that the police aren't here to protect us, but they are here to provide peace. And you can't be providing peace if you're going to let people who have that kind of violent rage stay loose on the streets. Howdy, Papa. Welcome in. Oh, the other day, so in the South Loop, for the past probably 4 years, there's been a woman who she just does these mystery yarn elements and puts them all over the city. So you'll see them on signposts. This happens to be a bike rack that she's got it on. Many of them have, let's say, puppet-like heads, or they'll have special designs, flowers. So kind of always makes you think of Marilyn over at CCC. Not seeing any uniforms out here on Dearborn Street. It really boggles my mind how the police can just, sleep at night knowing that this person assaulted and caused battery on Chris, defecated in public, pleasured himself in public, and it's we didn't see it, so it might not have happened. Well, wait. How is it that every time Scientology says that we sneezed incorrectly, that we're in cuffs, right? A Scientologist claims they were contacted. Scientologist claims they were contacted by somebody's breast, and the police are going to put somebody in cuffs, charge them. It's absolutely ridiculous. Got some folks that want to be on camera back here. Yeah, I agree. I remember when Chris was on there just this, 2-3 days ago. But he even told the police. There were so many people there because I think they took DOA away, and then Danny came. Well, several people came once they took DOA away on that. And Chris was one of the people that came. And Chris told the police, flat out, that person right there is the one who assaulted me. Oh, we need a detective to do that. Police don't work right if that's what you need. Never in, thanks. Yeah, I agree with this, Amy. I wish that, again, they're names that we don't like to have heard, and I think Claire is better prepared for it, but Claire needs to be able to do a seminar in some of these police precincts and districts to help them understand what really goes on in this cult of Scientology. I think that Claire is the better spokesperson. I 100% disagree with all of the activities and actions that are going on right now with Aftermath v. SPTV and the idea that your protesting is better than my protesting. I think it's absolutely BS. So we're back to the org. We came in, the blinds were up. They did have the books out. They're starting to play around a little bit with the presentation of the books that are there. Yeah, 100%, and in many different ways, right? So the mental effect is probably the most tragic way that they hurt people, but they absolutely send people out who they'll enlist the unhoused, they'll enlist people who are criminals and violent, because they need to be detached from the activity. So they want to make sure that there's some kind of remoteness or some barrier between the actor and the church. But they will 100% do what they can to try to interbulate, which they must not understand. We don't care about interbulation. What goes out here on the streets, right? The false arrests, right? The idea that it's a civilian complaint to have a sound ordinance violation. It's not an arrestable complaint to have a sound violation. So when DOA or Jay ends up in jail because of that, that's harm. I don't care what you say. Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be a he said, she said forever, right? Because Chris just wasn't able to get his camera out on the person. And just a reminder, this week I did purchase a body camera, so at all times I've got a body camera going as well as the phone. And I now have an additional phone on me, so if I need to make a phone call, I can definitely make the phone call. This, I don't think it'll be picked up on here, but I can see the pink from the cult that I put on here on Sunday. Can't see much else. Something's ruddy over here. I don't know what that coloration is. Yeah, I guess a lot of us don't like that people do human trafficking and that people do child abuse. So yeah, we're invested in the idea of protesting that type of behavior. I don't understand why the police are okay with a cult that disallows its members from reporting crimes to the police. Anybody who would withhold information from the police should be an enemy of the police. But you do you. If you don't think that watching protests is valuable to you, there's an off switch. I know that a lot of people want to come in and try and stir the pot. Have at it. Enjoy. I think there is value to this. One of the things that I did notice again when I did the video on the protest, or on the body routing, is just the number of flyers that I've taken off the street and prevented this cult from bringing new members into the organization. Yeah. Hey, MD Media, go back and look at my Easter presentation. You're going to see a whole bunch of people. Oops, sorry. You're going to see a whole bunch of people bring their child in here just on the idea that they would get an Easter egg and some jelly beans. But at the end of the day, it was a way to grow the mailing list, right? Because the parents came in and gave their names and addresses. Also on Easter, you'll know that I approached the organization from the back. And when I was in the back, they had the door open. It's very rare they have the door open here in the back at Chicago. There were probably 8 kids that you'll see playing tag in the org. So there are children that are in these buildings. Here comes Chad Olson coming down the street. Chad stopping over at Paisans to meet and greet. Safe Point, the bar back there. Now, that bar back, he actually knows what I eat. He knows my pizza order. Because I used to live in the neighborhood, now he's there all the time. No. They're the bad ones. So one of the people that we met with Israel out here, and he was born in Israel, was out today telling his friends, I'm the good guy, church is the bad guy.
Are you against human rights?
I'm against human trafficking. It's not right to human traffic. Tell me what human rights you stand for. Is it okay that children have to audit adults who tell them perverse stories? That's human rights? Maybe you need to look at, you need to do some word clearing on human rights. Folks, that's Chad Olson. But the good news is we're getting people to talk, right? And again, I love how they can't refute anything that I'm asking them, right? Yeah, it bothers me that we hear that a lot about this idea that there's no children there anymore. And again, there's definitely children here. There might be less than there used to be. They might have raised the age slightly in regards to what's going on. But the idea that they're giving up on children is absolute ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Yeah, he likes to dox me again as well. Hopefully you're seeing that I never really cared that they knew my name, but I didn't want to say it until they did. And now that they have, great. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I still will say that I don't know whether or not when people talk to me, should I be Wendy or should I be Paul? You're fine. Folks, just a reminder that typically, if I'm thinking about it, I try to raise the camera when there's just people coming by. Remember, I'm protesting Scientology, and I'm okay putting the people that are members of Scientology on camera, but I don't really need to put the public at large on camera. I wish I would have seen where Chad was coming from. So Chad was carrying a cart, but I don't know where that cart was coming in from. I'm going to take a quick run around back real quick. Yes, please do hit that like button. Subscriptions are free. It costs you nothing. If you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified when I go live. I'll probably do a little bit more advanced on the lives. Yeah, at this point, I can't tell if they're really watching or if they really care because they had 30 minutes notice and didn't close the front blinds before I got here. Thank you, Fab Daddy. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's where we saw the shorter bus unload children. Easter is the most relevant one, but even remember the night that Trashy was able to get go into the dumpster? That week, 2 different times, the same lady had her 2 children, somewhere between, you know, the youngest one was 6 to 8 years old. The older one was probably 10, 12, 13 years old. And they were in the org from like 5:30 until close. So that's 5.5, 6 hours that these people are in the org. You know what? Those blinkers are going to be the org. Not sure if you can see on the camera that far down, but there's an SUV there with its blinkers on, and that is basically at the org. The way that I can tell is that he's near the fence from the construction fence from the building that's being built right behind the org. As we go down, we'll take a look and see if they've got the locks on the garbage cans or not, or the dumpsters or not. Yeah, I can see the chain now. Yep, so the chain's on there. It's not an overly effective chain, and you can see the sticker there that's got the SPTV Foundation phone number on it. Just to show you that, right, I can still see in there. It's empty as anything. This car is actually illegal in Illinois. It does not have front plates. Maybe I should call 311 or 911 and let them know that there's an illegal car parked back here. And it actually is an Illinois plate. Here, sorry, we've got a lot of brights on there. You might not be able to see it, but we've got the SPTV Foundation there. We've got a list of children survivors. I did not hear that, but I will say that the whole Cruz clan has been in the news lately. The state's the victim. So get your sovereign citizen crap out of here. The idea that because there's no injured human being does not make it not a crime. Who was the victim when I wrote with chalk on the sidewalk? Who was the victim when we taped signs to the sidewalk? Yeah, I saw that Aaron was on just before I went live. We're thrilled to have you, Marina. I do agree it's a ticket for no front plate, but it can also be a towed car right now. I'm starting to get more into this camp. Now, I still think there's good cops, but I'm being pulled onto the dark side that it just seems as though all the cops are very suspect.
No, no, the number.
Howdy, Dave.
But I,
Just to let Dave know, this is a gift from Dave. Hopefully it's showing on camera. You know, I'm a fan of First Amendment auditors, but I'm going to say this, that I don't like the ones that like to, you know, if I get up in somebody's face and I'm yelling and spittle's coming out of my mouth or whatever the case may be, I'm making any kind of furtive gesture, you're baiting in that situation. And I understand the police shouldn't react to that, but you're out there not for a First Amendment audit. You're out there for a check, right? There are plenty of ways to do a First Amendment audit that don't involve baiting. If you go back to the beginning, Dave, I got here and maybe 5 minutes in, 3 to 5 minutes in, Anastasia, the one who usually does the blinds, was bringing a speaker out to the front door. And when she put the speaker out, she turned around to close the door and you could see that she yawned. So she was obeying the shirt. Have cops been called on the license plate? No. Have cops been called tonight? No. Just to kind of give you a little bit of a review of what happened this past Sunday, I was here and I started doing chalk right there when I had finished writing the word cult, and I think that we believe in space fantasy, at which point the police were already here. And there were 2 policemen here. The first claim out of the church from the DSA was that that this was a hate crime. And I asked the cop to show me anything in the message that I had that showed there was any hate. And then she said, well, let me talk to you about the new ordinances we're doing about hate crimes. Still irrelevant. Nothing in the chalk talks about hate. Oh, here comes another one of the members. He left and came back 30 minutes later, and he had reread the law, and he claimed that Mark was the term that disallowed us from writing on the sidewalk. Anything positive to say about the cult? Now, so that's 2 occurrences where in less than 30 minutes, the police were here on what I would say is a fairly nonviolent crime, if it's a crime at all, in that there was chalk on a sidewalk and they were out here. Now, the one that was even faster is somebody had taped a sign to the sidewalk, and within 5 minutes, the police were here saying, you got to get that up. So in 3 incidences, when Scientology called, the police were here in less than 3 minutes. Less than 30 minutes. I was assaulted. A woman came up to me, came into my personal space. As I backed up, she moved forward. That happened 3 different times. So she intentionally and furtively moved towards me. That is assault. Assault is belief that I was in danger of being struck. And the evidence would show that. It took them 90 minutes to get here. The cops explained away the idea that, hey, I wasn't here. I just got on shift. I wasn't here 90 minutes ago. I said, well, I'm not telling you I got a problem with you. I got a problem with your department. Oh, here comes another Scientologist across the street in a black t-shirt. Then the officer said, well, maybe that person didn't understand you. And to my way of thinking is ignorance of the law is no excuse. And the idea that if I didn't know, if you couldn't speak English, but you used a weapon and shot somebody, come on, we know that door's locked. So I don't know if you saw that. It said psychiatric drugging of children. And I'm sure it was a negative connotation. Sorry. That they said that the person didn't speak English. And I said, well, wait, if I had a weapon and a projectile left that weapon and it entered somebody else's body, would my inability to speak English prevent me from being charged with the crime? The other thing I'll say is that when the police looked at my video, there's a car parked. I'm going to try and get my finger on here. There's a car parked like here, and you can see that I back up. And the way that you know that I backed up is because the car got further away from me. Now, a static vehicle cannot get further away from me if I am not moving backwards. And they said, well, I don't know, that car was driving off. So the cops were trying to make up every excuse possible to say, oh no, what that woman did was fine. She's absolutely fine doing that. One of the things you're going to see in this is that the officer at the beginning of the day described precisely what occurred to me and said that I would be in trouble and I would have been charged if I had done that. Did you have a good day at the cult? Are you a Scientologist? I think he needs to go to the doctor. Oh, one of the other things that I thought was really fun on Sunday is I walked across the street during the 90 minutes that the police were not here. So do you know what this is? Yeah. Do you know what this is? Are you okay that women can't report sexual abuses against them? You okay that this church won't allow people to report their crimes? Yeah, make sure you keep walking. Don't listen to the truth. The truth is painful. Hey, keep your TRs in there. Most ethical people on the planet, right? I had walked across the street and I had pointed my camera at that window on the second floor. They could see me, and I caused them to bring the blinds down from across the street. So I was able to invoke blind tech on the second floor from across the street. Chicago has a problem similar to what they talk about in LA. There are an awful lot of ex-gang members. Ex-gang members, I guess, would be interesting to define, but people who have, at least at one point in their life, been a gang member and are now members of the Chicago Police Department. So now that the staff member brought the person out, he's going to probably go get some dinner. He's going on private property right now. Just kind of want to see where he heads off to. So sometimes they'll go in the back, and then he's going to go up to Harrison. So he might be going over to the State Street house. I don't ever want to follow anybody to the State Street house, but I'm sure that one day I'll be over there on State Street when they walk out. It's a little bit beyond my ethical code to follow somebody home. Now, you could ask the same question, well, hey, what happens at Imprint? I'm going to say that's a slightly different element. I don't have to walk anywhere. I can see as the people walk across the street and walk into the building at Imprint that they're there. Yes, he's in the private alley. Yeah, I'll say this, that it's a very scary thing that when a cop gets a bee in his bonnet, they have exceedingly strong powers that can make your life very, very difficult. You find that you're the only one in the neighborhood that has tinted windshields that are troublesome to the police. You're the only one in the neighborhood who gets jaywalking tickets. You're the only one in the neighborhood who gets stalking charges. So they did change. They I don't know why, but they came out and closed the door. I'm guessing the speaker wasn't that loud. It might have been dead. So somebody might be in trouble because they forgot to charge the radio. I'm not seeing anybody out here right now trying to do routing. The org looked pretty empty when I looked in on the first floor. So the first floor was rather empty. Now, granted, there's 7 floors and I don't really have a good line of sight anywhere else beyond the first floor. So, no idea in regards to if there are people who could be body routing or not. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be graduation tonight. I'm not really seeing too many people coming in and leaving. Sorry, we've got a couple of people coming down the sidewalk. I just want to give them a peaceful passageway. I've seen 2 people come out, 2 publics come out, but I haven't seen anybody really go in yet, minus staff members. So far tonight, we've seen Anastasia, Chad Olson. We have not seen Chadwick Burke yet. Haven't seen Izzy. Haven't seen the DSA. Last weekend, and I guess today, there's an awful lot of moving going on out of the college dorms. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Right, the idea of, safe pointing is one of the things that scares me the most about this, because it's such an innocuous thing, and the police think they're doing something good, and they're helping out a good organization. There is no Father and no Holy Spirit in this place.
I know. I'm from the church.
Yes. Es una secta.
I don't know many.
Yes. If your father and my father played dominoes, mine'd win.
And you know, the Father, the Hijo, the Santo, Espíritu Santo.
Yes. Nice.
We can make the sign of the cross here, across the church.
Yeah, there'll be a new crowd, which is an equally scary element. You know, there have been plenty of people that have said, "Oh, don't worry, the college kids won't fall for this." Look up my my live on Columbia students or Columbia recruiters, and you're going to see that 9 or 10 people walked up to the org that afternoon. They went inside. 3 of those came out and walked straight into Columbia College with brochures and badged themselves in. So they were residents of that building. The other 6 people, because I was alone, they definitely went out the back door, and I just don't know where they went to that evening. So there were probably 2 other groups that would have gone over towards State Street or Wabash, and you've got DePaul, Roosevelt, Robert Morris, Columbia College, all over there. So don't ever trust that everybody knows what's going on about this church and this cult. Don't ever think that nobody would fall for it. People fall for it all the time, and fall for it is the wrong term, right? They fall prey to it. And I'll say again, it's very idealistic at the entry level, right? We're going to save the world. Oh, you've got a little problem with anger. Let me help you with that. I'm going to use some common sense elements, right? Hey, count to 3 before you return an answer. Count to 10 before you return an answer, right? That's just common sense. But Scientology thinks that's tech, right? How to be more wealthy, right? Keep track of your budget. Spend less than you make. That's common sense. But the church is going to say it's tech. Yeah, I remember that was last night as well. And those are the things that really bother me, because somebody is going to get hurt on one of these swatting calls. And I feel they have yet to investigate any false calls to the police. Howdy, Erica. I did a short live Sunday afternoon, and I didn't want to put the people on camera, but I was over on Dearborn, so I was a block away from here, and a couple from the neighborhood walked by and said, "Excuse me, I know this is strange, but aren't you the one that's always out in front of the Church of Scientology?" And I said, "Yes." They said, "Do you mind if we ask you a couple of questions?" I said, "Absolutely not. Ask away." And they kind of wanted to know why I was out here, tilting at windmills, per se. Nation of Islam, on our way out. I can't remember what her name is, but on the blog post, I've got her name on there. If you look at WCTW.live, the second blog post is Chicago staff members. And that woman is, her name starts with A. It might be Ashana. Just walked out. So somebody just walked in with their yoga mat, which was interesting. And I want to say that when I mean get hurt, because again, these people that get cuffed, that's not comfortable, and their freedom was taken from them. Yeah, so what if it was only for 5 hours? Well, F you, who wants to sit in a cell for 5 hours? If I asked any police officer, can I put you in a jail cell for 5 hours? Would you be okay with that? Their answer is going to be no. So they're already hurting people with the stupid, nonsensical crimes that they're alleging. But yeah, when guns are drawn, um, when I was very young, I worked in a moving company, and we went to a third shift, and I was working one of the first nights that we had done third shift, and the police didn't understand why there were people in that building. And at that point, I'm wearing dicky pants, hiking boots, no shirt because it's god awful summer hot here in Chicago and muggy. And the cops come in with their guns drawn, and they at no point took their guns off of me until they left. And I just thought it was hilarious that it's like, do you think I'm some kind of magic elf that broke into this warehouse and I'm loading these trucks for them at night based upon these bill of ladings that are sitting right here? Here's the partner of the person that assaulted me. Her body rotting partner is the one that assaulted me. I'm sure she's out of the jurisdiction by now. Boy, there's an awful lot of stuff. So, right, the woman that always goes in the locked door, she's heading back to her apartment. There's an awful lot of stuff going back and forth between these two spaces right now. Papa, I'm glad I'm making at least you and I laugh. It is open. The cult is open. You can go in there if you want to. You know it's a cult, right? What I love about it is that they're so public that why do they have to pull their shades down? What church operates in the shadows like this?
None of them.
Yes. You have a great evening. That's my favorite joy. When I come here every day, the first thing I do is pull the shades down.
Yeah.
All right, I'm working here. We just had another staff member leave. They headed south. I don't know. I think they're going all the way down to Polk. Curious to see. He's got a lot of garbage in his pockets. So I don't know if he was just doing a food delivery or something.
Could you break your fit down for us real quick?
Can I do what?
Could you break our fit down real quick?
Break our what?
Break down the outfit.
Oh,
Like what you're wearing. Like
So-
what you think about the outfit.
I love the outfit. So Church of Scientology is behind us. They're not a church. They're a cult.
Facts.
Yes. One of the things that they do is when I'm protesting, they'll yawn because they want to say that I'm bored with you out there. So
That's
this is
some
my
petty
new
bullshit.
yawn if you're in a cult. So today, when they closed the doors, the woman that came out, she attempted to close the doors, and when she did it, she yawned. So my shirt's very
They
effective.
some weirdo ass motherfuckers.
Yes.
I support what you're doing.
No problem.
They bogus as hell. It's a money scheme.
It's all money and it's all crime. So they do child trafficking.
I've heard about this shit.
Yeah.
And they be killing people. Like motherfuckers like you protesting.
Yeah.
They really get at people.
They will.
be stalking your ass.
They have a couple times. They've doxed me a few times already.
Really?
Yeah. And by the way, they claim to be the most ethical people on the planet.
Everybody who's the most fucked up says that.
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. Why the doors closed now?
That's a good question. What church do you know of that actually works in shadows? So when I come here, the very first thing they do every day when I come here, they pull those shades down, they close that door.
Do you come here like every day?
I come here quite a bit. I don't want anybody new going in there.
You're doing the right thing.
I don't want anybody new going in there.
No, yeah.
Thank
bro.
you.
I appreciate you. Bro.
No problem.
Keep doing your
Thank you.
thing. Have a good one.
You guys have a great night.
Yeah, we go there.
Oh,
and he's like,
Here
"Guys,
comes
I
skateboard
don't
boy.
know what happened. It was like 2 days before we started.
Somebody's got a new haircut. talk about children. Anything good to say about the cult? Is acne medicine a drug that you can't use as well? She gets to hustle in. And then, as I've said before, they wear some tight-fitting clothes here in this org. I think Chad's heading down to go get some food. Definitely great to hear, Nance. Is it okay that women can't report sexual abuses against them? I'm going to go with she believes it is okay that women can't report sexual abuses against them. That one looks, I don't recognize that face, but I'm sure I've seen him before. No. Ah, yes. Hopefully we just saw the assaulter come out of the building. That's very helpful because now the police will see that she actually is a member of the church. Just in case this one's a ploy, I'm going to kind of hold back quite a bit. 100% Helgear. Just out of curiosity, I want to see how far down the street she goes. So on Sunday, that's the woman that assaulted me. Here's another young person coming out of the cult. Right, there's no kids in the cult. Now, granted, he's probably 18, 19 years old, but so sorry, I'm being quiet. I'm kind of just keeping an eye on the person. She's all the way down at Polk, and she's about to cross the street at the bottom of Polk. By tomorrow, I'll have the video up there that's got the 3-camera shot that shows that she did definitely violate my private space and did precisely what the officer warned me not to do earlier in the day. However, the police then said, oh, well, that's not a crime. So the laws are for thee, but not for me. Yeah, we have every expectation that the woman that first called the police on me on Sunday is the DSA here. So DSA is Director of Special Affairs. So she would be the OSA the ranking OSA officer here. Other than her, people shouldn't really be allowed to talk to me because I'm an SP. Now, I will tell you, and I did create the short for Nancy's show. I'm sorry, for Natalie's show. The older woman who just struggles to get up and down the curb. Sun's out, guns out. He's all yours. Sorry, what was I saying there? Oh, I asked her about pain, and she communicated with me. She had a back pain. So when she came up, I said, "How are you?" She said, "Oh my gosh." I said, "My back is sore," and I asked her, "Hey, can you take medication or therapy for it?" She couldn't hear me, so I moved a little bit closer. She invited me to. We then talked a little bit more. I asked her again, "Do you take drugs or therapy?" She says, "Oh no, I can't take drugs at all, or I never take drugs," and that falls in line with Scientology, right? The idea that drugs are the Antichrist. Then she did say that she has taken therapy before and it's helped her, but her chiropractor has left. Is it okay that women can't report crimes against them in this church? If you're abused, they're not going to stand up for you. And then talked to that, that she's had a chiropractor before, but the chiropractor retired. And I talked to her and said, "Hey, yeah, that kind of happened to my grandmother as well." So we had a good conversation. I really like that. Good day at the cult. Is it okay that women can't report crimes against them in this church? We've got 2 or 3 Scientos coming up the street. Remember, at the beginning of the stream today, Chad Olson called me out on what did I have against human rights, which is just adorable. Howdy. Here's our mechanic from Sunday. Couldn't believe I was married. Anything positive to say about the church? Is there anything positive about this cult? Your silence speaks volumes. My hope is that inside of the org, that when I show up, they're all inside singing, "Everyone knows it's windy." Folks, I added a couple of things to my my wish list. One of them being a media vest. I keep on getting pressed to get a media vest, and it's just something that has more pockets in it. But also, I want something that says press on the front. So that way, I really can't have anybody confront me on the idea that I'm not allowed to be a journalist out here. It would be much more evident for the police to see that. Now, I can't remember who that was that did Everybody Knows It's Windy. This week I did end up purchasing a body camera just so I had better visibility for incidents like occurred on Sunday. It's a beautiful evening out here. Yeah, on the front it'll say press, and then on the back it'll say Windy City Thetan Watch. And now there's really no thing that there is no authority to be a journalist. You're a journalist because you say you're a journalist. And at the end of the day, I'm reporting to you what's occurring here on the street. They were both joking about the idea that, oh my gosh, you live next to the Church of Scientology. %. Yeah, everything except for all the bad things that the Nightcrawler did. Now, on this one, Dave's going to have a better answer because Dave's smarter than I am. But anybody can ask the president a question, but you do need to be credentialed to get into the White House press, whatever that room is called, the press room in there, because they need to know anybody that's that close to the president isn't a threat. So you're going to have to go through vetting in that situation. Are you okay that women can't report sexual abuses in that church? And there are some forms of time, place, and manner. Most states, and I've seen a couple of issues on YouTube right now where you're supposed to provide enough room for as many people as want to see a public meeting, can see a public meeting, or provide closed circuit, or provide some other form where people can redress the group. And different states have different versions of what that law is. Oh, we got more Scientos coming down the street. These two aren't quite. Yeah, I do remember that he had. Well, he did do that, and there was some kerfuffle over should he use growing up in Scientology as the channel name or the press outlet. How are we doing tonight? Anastasia's heading home. She was our yawn girl at the top of the stream. She obeyed my shirt tech, courtesy of Declared Dave. Loves the press of Sherry. I don't know if that shows up in the window very well. That will definitely be a short tonight. Anastasia closing the door and yawning. Wow. This is the third trip that this woman has made back and forth. Something's going on here because we're seeing an awful lot of people returning to the org. Right across the street, we've got the guy that walked out with the public. Childhood is not a mental disorder, and children are not adults in small bodies. Young buck coming across the street smoking his cigarettes. Dave will have a better answer again, but I think that there's usually websites that allow you to apply for those kinds of credentials. You probably have to apply with the clerk of the court in a courtroom. You would have to apply with somebody related to the city government in the case of an aldermanic meeting or a council meeting. So, you know what? I think those guys went around back. Let me run down real quick. So my guess is that the guy that was smoking and came across the street, he kind of cut off the staffer to say, "Hey, let's go around back." Ooh. That sun is killing me. Hopefully you guys are okay with it. I'll do the loop. This is definitely one of those times when having an additional person. Oh, he's going to. I feel bad for this guy. I always cut his smoke short. That was another fun one on Sunday. He came out the door, lit a cigarette. I walked up to him and said, "Anything positive to say about the church?" He snuffed out a cigarette, put it in his pocket, and went back indoors. He came out the single door, and with the single door, I'm going to say the old timers, but they've been here for what, a month and a half. The old timers know to jimmy this so they can get back in without having to knock. So he went right back in that door. That door is always locked as well, but what they'll do is they'll jimmy it open, and then this is the other door, and this door is always locked. Sorry. As I was saying before that one of the reasons that I really like having more than one person out here is the idea that we can cover both doors. Right? And quite honestly, you don't even have to be streaming. If you just hold your phone up, it's enough to pressure them back indoors. I thought the Dianetics anniversary was the 9th, and then usually when they move celebrations like that, like if the important day doesn't land on a weekend, they'll move the celebration to the weekend. But yeah, Nance, it could be that they're here for the May 9th is when Dianetics was published. It's probably the second most important date in Scientology. I will say, to me, the first most important date is the day that we get Scientology to close. It's all that traveling, Nance. We're heading back up Clark Street, walking north right now.
But I do got a football team here.
Sorry. Oh. I tried to get into the fat lane, then I came back over to the skinny lane. I kind of cut somebody off a little bit. All right, folks. I think I'm going to head home. If I can ask the mods to see if we can find another live out there. Howdy, Pippi. Good to have you. We'll do a little bit of a tour of the city while I'm heading away from the org. It's a beautiful night here, so I feel like walking a bit. If you want to, we're going to find a raid to go ahead and implement. But otherwise, we'll stay here, and I'm just going to do a little tour of the city. So tonight, when we showed up, the shades were up. We were able to pull the shades down fairly quickly. Anastasia was out. Anastasia went to the door to put the speaker out there, and when she closed the door, she ended up yawning. And that's very funny because Declare Dave gave me an awesome shirt. Not sure if I'm holding this correctly or not, but Declare Dave gave me an awesome shirt, and it worked. Yeah, Dave, you'll be live in 30 minutes, right? What's tonight's topic, Dave? Howdy, Lavender Bridges. Oh, wait, an hour and a half. Maths, they're very challenging. That'll be interesting. I think that Dianetics is the study of Dianas. Oh, sorry. Anastasia fell prey to my shirt, and she did yawn while she was closing the door. And then Chad Olson. Now remember, there's two Chads. There's Chadwick Burke. He's the one that we see an awful lot. And then Chad Olson, he came up and, oh, here's the body router. I might stick around for a bit. The white jacket and back is the body router. Chad Olson came up and asked me what I had against human rights, to which I responded, what do you have? Why are you so for human trafficking? So the gentleman here in the white jacket, he is the other body router that will go out with our curly-haired friend. Anything positive to say about the church? I'm intrigued. I might stick around for a bit. On a Friday night, why are people arriving at 6:30, Dave? And I always see that guy body routing. That's awesome, Marina. I appreciate that. And if I find it, I'll definitely, I'll send you a timestamp. I'm gonna go across the street and kind of walk down to see what goes on there. I might go have a libation at First Draft. Yeah, so I did see a lot of people coming in the last, 20 minutes. And sorry, people, a lot of staff members. Yeah, but I think that was 5:30, right? That is awesome news, Marina. Marina, can you do me a favor? If your friend still has any contacts, I would love to get confirmation that the person that I saw Sunday morning, the very first person that I saw Sunday morning, was so as I left, right, my friend from the other day, the older lady, is walking in right now. And again, here is one of the younger kids. He's not the youngest, but he's one of the younger kids. I'm sure she's not allowed to walk in by herself anymore. Because she stopped and talked to me, I'll bet that she can't walk to the org on her own anymore. Sorry. Yeah, I'd feel terrible. Now, again, I would say that if that's the impetus that gets her to leave, that's great. How about it, Twyla? Right? Excellent. Yeah, what I definitely want to know is, one is I would love to figure out if we can get an org board for this for Chicago. But the other one is that if we can just confirm our suspicion that the person who came out on Sunday morning and addressed the police while I was here on the first encounter while we were talking. Love that. That first encounter that we were talking, she has to be the DSA. It's unlikely that anybody else would be able to know that much about me, or that they'd be able to talk with me. My expectation is, although I have no goldenrod, my expectation is that I'm suppressive at SP at this point. That's great news. I'll try to, when I get home this evening, now again, I'm going to forget about it when I get home this evening, but when I get home this evening, I'll try and contact you. All right, let's get back to my tour. I really want to finish editing. By the way, I like lives so much because they're a low workload per se, and I Aaron said that as well, that editing videos can be kind of a challenge. And so today I went through and I rounded up 20 encounters of me and body routing and watching all of that, and it's just there's 150 or so videos on this channel right now. It's hard to kind of remember where all those are or where in the video they are. I still have the black woman that wears the headdress. She went out body routing, and I can't remember what day that was. I know it was a lunchtime, and I think I came back that evening. Here's the guys again. How y'all doing? Take care. Thank you. Those are the guys that asked me about my apparel earlier. But tonight I do want to finish off that video. The only thing I've got really left to do is to clip in the cops at the end when they were making up the excuses of, oh, well, maybe she doesn't speak English, or maybe she didn't understand what she was doing, and just kept on giving up a bunch of excuses or assumptions that this person might have been using, and that's why they didn't see a crime there. Got the Chicago Stock Exchange over here. There are two buildings in a row. So this and the old post office are buildings that the roadway goes underneath it. Marina, what I think I'll do as well is I'll try to help you out with that, the Easter clip. And like I said, there was a lot of families bringing children in, and there were children inside there when I had arrived at the Org that day, as well as the week right around when Trashy went in the dumpster. There was a woman who had two children in there for 5 to 6 hours, a couple of nights in a row. The Blues Brothers was filmed everywhere near here. So the one at the near the end, the German guy who was the other bad N-word, he drives off of a bridge. That bridge is Wacker Drive, about 3 blocks east of Michigan Avenue. And that still looks like that. So that was a road that was just never completed. And then the Daily Plaza, well, they used Ford City Mall to do a lot of the driving through the mall that they destroyed. And then there was the driving through the Daily Plaza, which is just a bit up here. So now we've got the Board of Options is the large white building over here. I'm walking with the prison on my right-hand side. The Board of Options is just ahead of me. And then we start into the federal buildings. There's the 2 federal buildings. Right here. I used to live in Joliet when I was growing up, and that was the prison, right? He was Joliet Jake. That was the prison that he was released from down there. As we continue to walk forward, right, we see just these colossal, sandstone monuments on the left-hand side of the street. So we've got the Chicago Board of Trade right here. And then that next one, it's the Wintrust building now, but it used to be a different bank. And then directly in front of it is the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a really neat place. If you go in there, they have, it must be $1 million shredded in a little glass cube. So you'll be able to be that close to $1 million. Hey, did we end up raiding anybody? Tonight, we also saw both body routers that were out on Sunday. We saw the one in the pink coat first, and she walked in, and then the one that assaulted me walked out. So the good news with that is that I now have the video of her walking out of the Church of Scientology, lending more credence to the idea that she is an agent of the church, and when she came out on authority of. All right. Not the ED Chad, the other Chad Olson. So there's Chadwick Burke. He's the one that was Delphi. And he might be the Knight Foundation ED. And then there's Chad Olson. And if you go to the blog, by the way, Chad Olson has most of his pictures on Facebook. He was more svelte than he is now. Yeah, Helgier, I'm not positive about that. It's very likely that he is. I'll say this, that he seems to take center stage very often when we're here. So maybe he's an assistant. I don't know if they have assistant ED or things of that nature. Yep, there is one there. And then if you go a little bit further south of Joliet, that's where a lot, there's a, I think it's called the Lincoln Cemetery. There's an awful lot of military people there. This past year, one of my family members was interred there. So Berghoff claims to be the oldest liquor license in the city. That's pretty suspect. They might be the oldest brewery in the city. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, soon they'll have super EDs, right? Super DSAs. This is a neat place. It's called The Mark. It's a lot of people are there after work. You're seeing a lot of suited people in there. Thank you, Nance. I appreciate that. They lived a tough life. So this building, Marquette, if you go in here, you might be able to see, you can see the security guard right there. If you go just past that, there's a little museum to the family that built this building. There are escape rooms here. I don't ever, they kind of pop up and they go away. There is one on State Street, but I'm not sure there's any right here or near here. That's a great ploy. We need to nominate her to be king of Scientology and let her bankrupt the place. Or queen of Scientology. So this is the Chase building and Chase Plaza. It's got a beautiful curve. It's something like 57 stories up. Mostly unobstructed views. It towers above just about everything that's near it. The building on the north side, you've got to be up to that 57th floor in order to be the top floor. Let's walk over to so we're on Dearborn, walking towards State Street now. The bridge that you see above, the train tracks that you see 2 blocks up, that's Wabash. And remember, up here, the train runs over the streets. It's not until you get south of Congress Expressway or I.W. Wells that railway moves into the alley between State and Wabash. On Sunday,
What's up, Juan?
on Sunday, Korn and Neverin came up to this target. They walked towards, there's a target that's very close to the Scientology organization. They walked towards that, but they felt like they were going the wrong way, so they ended up coming up to this one, which is much further away. But it's a beautiful historic building. Most of these buildings are very old down here. All right, we'll keep going across. So that is the building that Target is in. This corner, I used to know people that lived in this building. They had both apartments on one of the floors, which was awesome. So basically you got off the elevator and the hallway in both apartments were theirs. And then if we go further up the street, that red awning is the Target. And at the Target, you would have seen, it's an old Gothic building. I think that Korn posted a picture of it. Hey, Bridge. We're kind of in the PS portion of the show tonight. We're at the org. There were no body routers. We saw a couple of body routers, but there was no activity. There was nobody actually doing the activity of body routing tonight. I have a shirt on that says "Yawn if you're in a cult." And when I got to the org tonight, Anastasia was there, and as she went to close the door, she yawned. So the shirt is very, very effective. And then Chad Olson approached me, and I asked him if there was anything positive to say about the church. And his response was, "Why am I so against human rights?" So a bit of a non sequitur there. And the idea that a cult member asking me why I'm against human rights when they engage in human trafficking, child abuse, elder abuse. They disallow their members from taking needful medicines. Lisa McPherson was just an example. Sorry, we got a guy singing, so I'm going to go one block over. Lisa McPherson was just one example of somebody who needed medical help, and the church found out that she was in the hospital, sent some of their ranking members to the hospital, and talked her into leaving against medical advice. A very short time later, she went into crisis. They tried to get her back to the hospital. They chose not to go to the nearest hospital because a farther hospital had a Scientologist on staff. And either at the Church of Scientology or on the way to the hospital, Lisa McPherson passed. She was announced dead on arrival. That's, yeah, I did say something of that nature, but it was kind of funny that I was asked that question. And again, funny is wrong, not by no means humorous. So, this is the Diamond District. So if you come down here, many of these places, never go to the ones that are retail on the ground floor. So the ground floor are the expensive ones. If you go upstairs, you're going to get all of the loose diamonds. You're going to see all the loose diamonds in the upstairs shops, and you get to kind of pick your diamond and then pick your setting. So it's basically 2 blocks of the Diamond District. Yeah, There is nothing remotely positive about anything that went on with Lisa McPherson, right? Um, and right, it's is it a wife or the daughter of the doctor that's in the Real Housewives of Who the Heck Cares? As we head up the street here, down we're on Washington Street here. So the building that's farthest away from us, that's got the five arches in front. Oh, I'll just walk down there. This building is called the Cultural Center, and this used to be the library. You know, I've often showed you that that building with all the copper work on top, the George Washington Library, which is now Chicago's main library. This building over here used to be Chicago's main library, and it's got a couple of interesting features in it. Now it's a cultural center, and it has traveling art shows in it, or rotating art shows, whatever best makes sense. And by the way, right now there is a very X-rated show going on in there, in one of the rooms. But there's 7 or 8 different rooms that will exhibit art in this building. But at this end, if you ever go in, the world's largest Tiffany Dome exists here. And it's a great wedding venue, or it's a common wedding venue anyhow. And they're all hand-set pieces of glass by Tiffany himself. Or he laid it out, sorry. He didn't do the work. And then more mural work that we've seen here. This building on my left is I think that it's called the Legacy, something like that. It's a very expensive condo, and the mayor has a home. The Daley mayors. The Daleys have a home in Bridgeport, and that's always, that's where they're from. But when he was in town, this was his home. There are no poor folk in this building. Yeah, Minkoff, thank you. Somebody's singing music again over here. So again, Chicago is just really awesome with all of its public artwork. Big fan. So as we walk this way, that's an opening to the metro station, and it gets you to the Illinois Center. So if you go down right there in that building, and I want to keep on talking to move away from it because it'll be copyrighted music. You end up walking diagonally over to the other side. It's part of the Pedway. I've talked to you about the Pedway before. We haven't really been down there yet. But that Pedway will take you over to the Illinois Center, and you can basically walk from here all the way to City Hall on the western side of the loop underground. So it's awesome that if it's snowing or raining and you need to go east to west, there's a way that you can get that done. So. Sorry, I just saw somebody with a blue vest. I'm like, oh my gosh, is that a Scientologist up here? Because we're pretty far away from the org now. We're now on Michigan Avenue. The horns are honking. Oh. Congratulations on your lottery win. Maybe you can show everybody the Chadwick emoji. If you look forward on my side of the street, you've got the ornate Gothic building, which is the Wrigley building. Far ahead on the other side of the street is the John Hancock building with the two white towers that are up there. The building behind this, you can't actually see it from here. It's called the Aon Center now, but it used to be called Standard Oil, and that used to be the tallest building in the world until the Sears Tower usurped it. And then as we walk over here, we end up coming around the corner of Wacker. So Wacker, if you went straight on Wacker, you'd end up coming down this street. Look down here real quick. No, I lied. I'm on Lake Street. I thought I was one block further up. So we're on Lake Street, and Lake Street is the northern boundary of the loop where the train is going to go underneath there. I'll walk one more block north up to Wacker and the river. And we see if you look at the bottom, that's Lower Wacker. And on the top is Upper Wacker. So there's a couple of fun things about Wacker. One is there are multiple levels of Wacker. It has a very strange name, and it goes both east-west and north-south. So it follows the river. When the river bends up at Merchandise Mart, the street remains Wacker Drive as it goes north-south on the far side of the Sears Tower. So here we're at the Virgin Hotel. Virgin has a great rooftop as well. If you're ever in the city, it's a nice place to go up and have a drink. There is a very tall building in front of me, which please refrain from any political statements. The thing that I always thought was fun, and this is before he was really batshit, sorry. So when he had The Apprentice, the first season winner was Bill Rancic, right? And he married the Entertainment Tonight newscaster. But his reward for winning was he became the project manager of this building. Now, here's another one that I'm going to say, long ago, I knew much more about this church than I do now. But this is the Church of Christ Scientist. This is not Scientology. A lot of people sometimes conflate the two. But my understanding is they also are not a church that believes in medical practice. I think that they were caught up in several lawsuits where children died because medical care was withheld from them. So here we've got the Wrigley building on the left, and then on the right with the American flag at the top is the Tribune. Tribune. Tower. WGN. So the Tribune always called itself the world's greatest newspaper, and that's why Channel 9 in Chicago is WGN. WLS was a radio station, a radio station that was propped up by Sears, and WLS stands for World's Largest Store. Yeah, now I do think that Christ Scientist is cultic. I don't know any exes, so I don't know any of the crimes that they would be accused of. And I guess I can only tilt it one windmill at a time. Or I'm choosing to only tilt it one windmill at a time. If we go down here, this will take us onto the Riverwalk. It's probably going to be crowded, so I'll probably come back up pretty quickly. But this particular space where we go down onto the Riverwalk is the Veterans Memorial. Sorry. The Veterans Memorial is actually right behind me. The Chicago River used to be an ugly, polluted place. Nobody really came down here into the city center anyhow before all of the residential boom took place. But I think under Daley, they decided to renovate this, and now you can walk on the south side of the river. You can walk from the lakefront all the way to the bend in the river. And what they do is they call each of the any space between a bridge is called a room. So this room has, well, the restaurant that I'm at is O'Brien's, but apparently they're not open right now. I don't know if they've closed permanently or not. There's another little marketplace right there, and around the corner is the stairs that go up to Michigan Avenue, and that's the Bridge Museum, or is it the Bridge Museum or the Lighthouse Museum? It's a museum. I think it's a bridge museum. And we're seeing people just leisurely cruise. It's a no-wake zone. Something interesting about the boat ahead of us, you might not be able to see it, but it says Wilmette, but it's OUILMETT, whereas the city is actually WIL, and the OU is the Native American way to say that community. I think it was Lake Street that occurred on. As we go through here, so that building used to be, before the Trump Towers went up, it was the IBM building. And then the large black building here was, thanks, was the AMA Plaza. This sun is killing me. Sorry for the glare that you guys are getting on there as well. But you've got the American Medical Association building right here, or plaza right here. I think we've talked about the Corn Cob buildings before. So this is Marina Towers. 15, 20 years ago, that was the most roach-infested place in the city. No idea where they're doing now. Here we've got the Chicago Brew House. Beautiful place to have a beer or a barley soda and watch the river. Kinsey Bridge. Oh, out in front of East Bank Club. Okay. I was trying to figure out where Kinsey crossed the river, but so that's the North Branch that does it. Thank you, Bridge. Imagine Bridge knowing something about bridges. One of the places that I take my friends when they come into town, and it's nighttime, because this looks just beautiful at night, and we have talked about it before, is the London House. Oh, by the way, earlier, I had told you that we have the the Veterans Memorial is down here. And this is where our Veterans Memorial is at. So it's mostly the post-World War II wars. And this, I think, is a replica of the wall in Washington. And that one's, well, the Vietnam Memorial. All right, now I have to look up Adam Seltzer. This is actually pretty fun. I've done this before. So they're just kayaking the river.
Really careful.
Whenever you do come to the city, your first stop should be the architectural tour by boat. Again, grab a coffee, grab a toddy, grab a beer.
We're not like super.
This is the most expensive marina in Chicago. It is very expensive. You can stay here year round because they have bubblers underneath here. And you are in city center at this point. The next closest is going to be River City, which is around the corner and south of the old post office. The strange looking building in the back that's between these two, it used to be an old bowling alley, but that is the Blues, House of Blues.
This is smaller.
Oh wait, what happened? All right, I'm not sure who got kicked or unsubbed. Got the city winery in this room. Thank you, Nance. I'm not sure really what happened. Got a little mallard swimming there. Not sure if it shows up on the camera or not.
Oh, she gets that.
You want to see it again?
Right now, the sun is coming out of the west, so we're facing the sun right now. But it's hitting a bend in the river, the buildings that are at the bend in the river. So unfortunately, I can't really show you that, but you see where all of the sunlight is hitting? Well, just to my right, so I assume it's your right as well, there's the tall building in the middle. It's what's in the center of the frame right now. That wall of buildings are hotels. One's the Royal Sonesta, the other one's London House. But if you ever go up to the top of London House, that's a beautiful view. Go get a nightcap up there, and it's just a beautiful view down the river here.
I wonder if it's
Excuse me. Yeah, if somebody can get me Papa Smurf's contact, I'd really appreciate that. Again, send it to windycitythetanwatch@gmail.com. Another expensive steakhouse over here, RPM Seafood. There's Tiny Tap. So I'm going to talk through here so we don't get any copyright strikes. So copyright. I learned something from Dan Walks LA today. If you just keep on saying copyright, then you keep on talking over the copyright stuff, so they can't copyright me anymore. A couple people here in the kayak again. Thank you, Nance. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Do they?
So if you see the front of this boat, there's a docent that's explaining kind of the thing, information about the city. So he'll be telling them information about the buildings that are here. Hey, Erica, can you unblock or do I have to unblock? And if I have to unblock, I probably have to. Oh, wait, let me try it on my other phone. So as we keep on walking forward, right, we've got the large building on the right is the Merchandise Mart. That used to be the crown jewel of the Kennedy Empire. For those of you that don't know, JFK's father was a well-to-do guy, probably a little bit shady and unethical, and probably involved in insider trading. But he had an awful lot of money at the time that we went into the depression, the Great Depression, and the old those who keep their heads while those around them are losing it often succeed. And he was able to make an awful lot of purchases for pennies on the dollar. And one of the purchases that they made was the Merchandise Mart. The Merchandise Mart, for the longest time, was known as the largest retail space or largest indoor retail space building in the world. It still is. A lot of designer houses are in there, like Kohler and countertops and ovens and stoves. All of that kind of stuff is in there. There's also regular, offices in there as well. Businesses that have offices in there. Hey, Papa, if you are back in here, I really apologize. It was absolutely inadvertent. Unfortunately, I'm not that savvy. Typically, I don't have to worry about blocked users, so I'm not that savvy on how I can unblock you. I know how to unblock you from my computer. I just don't know how to do it from my phone. But we'll get you unblocked as quickly as possible. As we look down the street, this next bridge is under construction, and construction is not, it's maintenance work. So it's sometimes it's repainting, other times it's redoing bolts in there. The glassy buildings in the background are called Wolf Point. Those are pretty new. Those buildings are somewhere between 5 and 8 years old. They've got a beautiful plaza along the river on their side, and it's public. You can walk down there. A couple of restaurants. This is always fun to see a train going over cars, going over a boat. Thank you. And Dave, I appreciate falling on your sword. I'm sure it was an accident. Hopefully it's a good learning experience. I think that I've told you this before, but they have something called Art on the Mart. And this little encased area with this, with the glass front has a large number of, let me see if I can get a good angle where you can see the cameras. But there's all kinds of cameras in there, and then they can project onto the merchandise mart over here. So just after dusk, they'll basically play movies. Now they're not actual movies. They allow artists to create their own visual effects, and then they'll put those effects over on the building, on the merchandise mart. It's a summertime event called Art on the Mart. So this is the intersection. At this point, the Chicago River it hits Lake Michigan behind me, and in front of us, we're seeing to our right-hand side. By the way, I don't know if it's your right or not your right, but to this side over here is the north branch of the Chicago River, and then to this side over here is the south branch of the Chicago River. And earlier I told you that Wacker Drive curves around. Well, Wacker Drive followed us all the way down the river here, and right now it's bending around here. So Wacker Drive goes down on this side of that large bridge that you see going across the street that's ahead of us. Now, a couple things that are interesting here. There's I think that might be a Morton's, but it's a nice high-class restaurant up on that patio up there. You can actually walk across the top of that patio, or you can walk across the bottom of that right along at the lakefront, or sorry, riverfront. Another thing that's interesting, you see the red brick building in the back? Well, that red brick building used to have a beautiful river view, and they all felt very confident about that. And then this glass building right here, and we'll see it when we get up there, it almost looks like it's a popsicle, that there is a very thin foundation that they were able to find bedrock there, and it's a very small footing and foundation there, and then they built the building out on top of it. So they were able to kind of steal the lakefront view from the people in the brick building behind it. Chicago has an awful lot of steakhouses, you know, the Morton's, the Ruth Chris. Lowry's is kind of a Chicago pride type place. And let's see here. I fumbled on that a bit. It is the pride of Chicago. I'm sure that they have Pride Day as well, but Lowry's is a Chicago-based restaurant. So there's the building, and at the bottom, I don't know if you can see, it angles in, and there's only that little white space is what goes down, and that wall is what hits bedrock.
come together. Too much patience among.
Here we've got the Boeing building. Boeing has an interesting element. You don't see it from this side, but from the other side, it's got a cantilevered building. So there's a very large part of that building that goes like sideways out of the building, and it's just held up basically in a cantilever. It's like a cantilevered roof. Hey, if somebody could do me a favor, I've got another channel. I think it's called Wendy Walks the City. There were likely, I don't think I've put anything up, but remember last weekend I walked the entire length of Western Avenue, so I'll be putting that up. And I want to do some of this on that channel as well. But if by chance somebody can find that and you guys can start kickstarting me on subs, that would be great. Also, I would hope that some of you that are still in here, it's because you find the city somewhat appealing and you like that I make stuff up about the city. Here we've got a green line coming in from Oak Park. Erica, I think it's called Wendy Walks the City. Let me check on my other phone real quick. I might be able to put it in there. I don't know how these mods do this magical stuff. Wendy Wanders the City. Sorry, Wendy Wanders the City. Now let me see if I can do that. View channel. Yeah, at Wendy Wanders the City. Oh, I do have videos up. Oh, they're upcoming. I haven't published them yet. Sorry, I'm kind of watching two things at once. All right, now let me see if I go to the live here. Now I'm listening to myself on here. Hopefully that shows up. Does that actually work that way? I'm sorry that I'm so stupid at, at this YouTube stuff. But we've got some interesting stuff going on here. This bridge has been up forever, the longest time that I've known it. Oh, one thing, we're seeing a barge come through right now. That barge, it probably delivered gravel. It might have something in it, but I think I would see it by now. But this is a working river, and building materials oftentimes still go up and down the river. We don't see grain as much anymore, but That's the just a barge, and let's see if he's going to head out towards the lake or if he's going to go down to Mississippi. So if you go underneath me right now, you'll go south on the Chicago River, and you'll end up joining the I&M Canal and then the Illinois River, and then eventually you end up in the Mississippi. And it looks like he's got gravel in here. And he's going to the Mississippi. Or at least he's going south. It's kind of strange because he kicked the back end to his left as he's traveling. We'll take a walk down. Oh, you can't really see it from here, but we'll give it a shot. The building that I said kind of looks like a popsicle, and it usurped the view. As we look up, oh, you know what? I'll go up to the restaurant. I was going to walk. So you see, you've got the walkway down here, and then you've got the walkway up here. This one goes up to the restaurant. This one just gets you almost all the way to the next street. But I talked about this building that usurped the view. So this building used to have a great view, and then this building is now in its way, but the base of it is only that little silver rectangle. So they were able to put its foundation in right there. Now we're looking back down the river towards Lake Michigan. And I'll definitely chapter this so that people aren't looking here to see why we don't have Chadwick on here. Looks like there's a wedding party or something, so everybody's dressed in white on that boat. And just another piece of public artwork here in the city. This is Santiago Calatrava, and I think it's called Constellation. As we continue down the walkway here, we can go out here and stay above the river. We'll walk towards the restaurant. This is a residential building, by the way, except for the restaurant here. Couple up there having a nice wine on the balcony. W-I-N-E, not W-H-I-N-E. Now, when we hit the street here again, we're going to be at the north end of Ogilvie. So when you guys watch Trashy and SRA come into town, this is where they land. Ogilvie services some western communities, but for the most part, these trains go north. And here we go down the stairs. Let's stay up in the air to stay above the employees. We're heading down the stairs again. So the large train tracks up here, these are those regional trains. So these are going to go out to suburbs. This isn't the blue line, the red line, the brown line, the orange line, the green line that I typically take. So that's the northern entrance of Ogilvie Station. And then on the ground floor over here, the Union Station exits right here, and it went under a large number of buildings. Union Station, both north and south, goes underground. Well, it's under buildings for quite a ways. I can hear a train behind me, so I feel like we might get something coming at us. But this is the northern entrance to Union Station. I was already under the tracks. So we're going to see a train come by. I'll go ahead and mute. Yeah, so the train would have just left with its partner, with all of its passengers. This is the terminal end of that track. Oh, and this is interesting. So you've got the train on top, which is leaving Ogilvie, and the train on the bottom leaving Union, and another one coming into Union. So Chicago has some trains. Ooh, that is painfully loud. As the iron goes around that curve, it just sounds terrible. We're coming up to the East Bank Club. Oh, and by the way, earlier Bridge told us that it was the Kinsey Street Bridge. The road ahead of me is Kinsey Street. Now, earlier when I looked up the river, you saw that there was one of those bridges that was up in the air. This is the tracks of that train, so you can see that it's still right up. It's permanently up. This used to deliver paper and supplies into that building. Another train leaving Ogilvie. McLaren in front of us. And this is the Kinsey Street Bridge. This is the Dave Matthews Bridge. Cyclist is a little bit perturbed that the cars aren't doing something. Now he's in the wrong for being on the road there, but I don't know why he's yelling at everybody. All right. Folks, I think you've had a great tour of Chicago. Well, I hope you've had a great tour of Chicago. I am going to go ahead and shut down the stream and head over to Farrell Cheryl if she's still up. So I really appreciate everybody holding on to the very end. It's been a pleasure guiding you through my lovely city, and I will hear from you soon. I do plan on editing and publishing the other video tonight, so hopefully we'll get that out. Thanks. Take care, everybody.